Hi guys, welcome to today's video. This is an introduction to the video because some time has passed. It is now the 19th of September and some time has passed from the original filming that you're going to see next. I have updated thoughts on it and I wanted to keep the integrity of the video because I still stand by a lot of things that I say, and then I want to kind of update you with all the information that I now think. And yeah, I just wanted to kind of start this video off just to say, look, I said things have been updated. I'm going to update my thoughts. Hi guys, welcome to a new video. This one is going to be a little bit different to my usual ones. My name is Ashley, and usually on this channel I do a lot of book reviews, book vlogs, things like that. But if you don't know, I'm a massive Critical Role fan. I have Funko Pops up there. I wear a lot of Critical Role merch. I talk about it far too much, and there has been some information that has come out today, so I wanted to talk about it. I want to first preface this with, I'm not hating on anyone here. I want to kind of like throw this out there that like this is just my initial thoughts. This news came out at last night at the latest live show, and because of where I live, it was coming out at just after midnight, and I was not staying up that late to do it because I'm an old lady now who goes to bed early. So me and Becca woke up this morning and found out this information. Now, I've had a couple of hours, well, I've had most of the day to stew on it and kind of think about what I want. So what we're talking about is Critical Role announcing that for campaign 4, Matt Mercer is not going to be the GM, which is huge. So I have been a fan of Critical Role since Chroma Conclave days in campaign 1. I found it then. I watched everything in like 2 months. I stopped reading, I stopped doing anything. I just watched Critical Role, and I fell in love with everything they did. So I've been watching it for about 8 years, I think it is. And I have watched all of campaign 1, all of campaign 2, and all of campaign 3. I am currently on Exandria Unlimited Calamity. And yeah, I've watched most of the things. So we found out today that Brian Lee Mulligan will be taking over as DM. Now, I'm also a big Dropout fan. So before anyone says anything about that, I adore Brian Lee Mulligan. I think it's hilarious that, I think he's hilarious, sorry. I think he's great. I haven't watched many of his DM stuff apart from when he did EXU. And I've watched 1 or 2 episodes of Dimension 20, but I haven't really watched a lot of his stuff. So when we found out that it was him who was becoming DM, I'm excited to see a new perspective because I do know Brendan Lee Mulligan is a fantastic DM. I'm very, very curious because a lot of his stuff is on the shorter side, and campaigns for Critical Role tend to go on for a lot longer. We also don't know if it's going to be D&D that it's going to be, so I'm a little bit unsure about what that's going to be like. But essentially, when I heard the news, it was a lot of confusion. It had leaked before, so we saw that and we went, surely that's not it. And yeah, so when we found out, like, I'm excited to see what he's like, but I am a little bit confused because, and don't get me wrong, first off, I want to say as well, if Matthew Mercer needs a break, Matthew Mercer needs a break. That man works tirelessly, and we were talking about it, and like, I understand that Critical Role is no longer just a live show. Critical Role has been evolving into something for a very, very long time. They've got 2 animated series out. We know they have films in the pipeline. We just don't know when they're coming out. They have got games that are coming out. I think there is like at least 2 that they have announced. They have multiple books. How many books do they have out now? So they've got Kissing Kin, Nine Resolution, Lordna, Tusklove, The Cats and Prince. So like 5 books that are out. They have the colouring books. They have like 12 graphic novels, I think. They have all of the art books that they do. Laura Bailey does the merch, like that. They do all of it in-house. They have a games development part of the company, so they do board games and things like that. So they do so much, and we only see what they present. So I totally appreciate that. That is like them doing Dungeons and Dragons as friends is not the be-all end-all of it. My concern when I heard it though was a lot of people have been saying for a very, very long time that Critical Role has been very, very white. Which it is. It is. It's 100% like that is, they started as friends around a table playing games and it turned into a phenomenon. I am not disputing that, but a lot of people have had a lot of issues with how diverse the cast was, and they have tried with all of their miniseries like Candela Obscura, any of the EXUs. They've brought in this incredible talent that is diverse and interesting and brings a different perspective to the show, and I love that they do that. My concern is, why have they brought Brennan Lee Mulligan, who in his own right has so much stuff that he's doing with Dimension 20? Why have they brought him into it when they could have given it to someone of a different background? Now, I don't know what goes on back there, and we do know that the cast who has been cast as players is not just going to be our primary founding cast. They have already said that. They have said that there's going to be new players. So I can only assume that some of the new players are going to be diverse people, because they have been really, really good at diversifying their cast. But it feels, it's an interesting one to do, because it feels as if Brennan Lee Mulligan was already a household name. And I appreciate that they want someone great to take over Matt, because Matt is incredible. It just feels a little bit strange that this is what it is. And I totally appreciate that Matt probably needs a break. I totally appreciate that they are probably balancing so many things that they just want to kind of take something and make it something different. So yeah, absolutely. I absolutely appreciate that. I'm also very, very curious with this to see what they do, because when it's the first campaign, we're not getting an Exandria, and I'm wondering if it's something to do with the fact of what happened in campaign 3, which no spoilers, but I'm wondering if the world needs to be the world needs to be built out a little bit more, and that's more extensive. So maybe we're getting campaign 4 as something completely different, completely new, and it's going to be something brand new. I'm curious. I'm very excited to see what Brennan brings to the table. Again, I'm not hating on Brennan on this. I'm not hating on any of the Critical Role cast. I'm just kind of voicing my curiosity, trying to figure out things. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I'm not upset, and I'm very, very curious to see what this will be. But we'll see. I might do a couple of reactions if people are interested in the first episodes, because the first episode goes out on the 2nd of October. So I might start doing reactions to campaign 4 and say what I want to talk about, because I feel like I could have been a hell of a lot eloquent with this if I'd like written a script or something, but you're just getting me kind of talking out loud to a camera. Right, so to kind of put it into a more positive thing, I know that I don't have to be positive in things like this, because like, it's my opinion, and also I'm one person. I'm not going to change how Critical Role changes things, because they're a multi-million-dollar business, or however much they get, I'm assuming so, and they run a company and they run a tight ship, and they need to do what they need to do to preserve their happiness and their standing and their money, and if that's how they do it, that's how they do it. I'm concerned about how much change they're going to do and how much it's going to affect the audience, because a lot of people checked out after campaign 3 because of how different it is. Because campaign 1, they had established the world and they had already had like a good foot into it when they started playing online. And it messes people up, because people go in and go, I don't know where the hell this is starting. Like, you've not started me at the beginning. So a lot of people struggled with that. Then in campaign 2, I think you had a really, really good mix, because you had these people who now knew what they were doing. They had an established world, so they knew how that world worked. But we started at the beginning and we went to the end. And it was really, really well done. And I do believe that is why people love that campaign so much. And then with campaign 3, you had a lot of mixtures and crossovers of a lot of things. And it was difficult to kind of pinpoint what it was without it feeling like nostalgia bait. And I don't think it was nostalgia bait in the sense of people being nostalgic for campaigns gone by. But I do, because, and I know that Matthew Mercer says that he runs his games for his players and he wants to make sure they have a good time more than anything else. He doesn't care. He wants everyone watching to enjoy it, but he would rather his players enjoy it than anything else. So if he needs to make sure his players are enjoying that. And I totally respect that. Like, at the end of the day, that's where those players want to be, that's where those players want to be. And I do think because of the mix of them starting the campaign as they were going through Vox Machina and doing that, I think a lot of them got a little bit like, oh, I'd love to revisit things to do with this. And I think that's why we got such interesting characters and such interesting dynamics, but also that harken back to campaign 1. And I think that is one of the reasons that there is a lot of pushback on campaign 3, because it does take a lot of information from those other ones. Now, a lot of people came in on campaign 2, so I do appreciate why people don't fell off with campaign 3. I love campaign 3. Campaign 3 is one of my favorite things. Vox Machina will always have a special place in my heart, but I think some of the characters you get and some of the dynamics and some of the moments in campaign 3, I'm not going to go into detail because I do not want to spoil anything, but they're my God, I'm not going to spoil anything, but the art chart, perfection. That moment was amazing, and I'm literally only saying that so no one knows unless you know, but that moment was just jaw on the floor, some of the most spectacular information. And I genuinely think that D&D is one of my favorite types of storytelling. It's such a collaborative storytelling situation. It's so beautifully done. And when you get these actors, we were watching Candela Obscura today, and watching, it was Needle and Thread, and it was the first episode. And the end of that first episode, you sit there and you're watching these people just pour their heart and soul into these characters, and it's just spectacular to watch. And I'm just rambling about Critical Role now, but I think they had a really, really good dynamic, and I think a lot of people are going to be very, very wary about a new dynamic, about a new world, potentially them doing it as Daggerheart. I'm not going to bother either way. I think if they want to try it, I'm definitely going to be sitting and I'm definitely going to be taking part, and I'm definitely going to see what it's like. But I can see a lot of people being upset because it's change and people don't like change. One thing I did not like, and I think a lot of people are feeling the same, is the fact that they announced this at a live show before the live show started. Because that's a lot to take in before you watch it, and the live shows are so special. I was very, very fortunate to go to the London live show last time. I'm very, very fortunate again to get a ticket, and me, Jem and Becca are going to the London live show that's coming up next year, and it's going to be so much fun, and I know it's going to be fun, but I can't imagine sitting there and waiting as they announce something and then finding out, oh, this is the information that we're going to be announcing. I also think that this paired with everything they've announced, because they've announced additions to Daggerheart. They've done a romantasy. I'm so excited to see what that's like. They've announced the Mighty Nine animated series. They've announced that Vox Machina got a 5th series and that's been renewed and that's going to be the final series. They have announced so much stuff that I think that, like, I'm a little bit fatigued with just how much they're bringing out, and I'm just a fan watching. I can't imagine how they're feeling, which again I think adds to the fact that they're probably wanting to take a step back. We also have the likes of Sam Riegel, who just went through cancer, and we know he had to retrain himself to speak. He didn't think he was going to be able to speak when he came back on campaign 3. Like, he didn't know how well his voice was going to hold up. And then we have to remember that these people are professional voice actors. They probably have jobs outside of this job. And I think as someone who's feeling fatigued about what they are doing, I can't imagine how it is running that. And I can definitely appreciate why they probably need a break, and this is probably the best way to give some of them a break as they can. I'm so excited to see what Matt brings to the table as a player, because we know Matt as the DM. Matt is the forever DM. He's always been the forever DM. I'm really, really excited to see him play something. And we've seen snippets of his characters in the past, and the role was spectacular. We know that Matthew Mercer can play a character. We know that Brennan Lee Mulligan can DM. Me and Becca were talking about this, and Becca's not sure about it because she personally can see where Brennan is a great DM, but because of his DM style, it's not for her. Because we watch it on well, I now watch it on 2-speed. I only started doing that when Becca pointed out that I could, because before that I was watching it at single speed. But Becca has always watched it on 2-speed, and he's so fast that it's difficult for her to watch because he's really fast, so she's speeding it up, but everyone else is still quite slow to her, so it's not a great mix. So I think it's gonna really come down to seeing what this is. I think we'll have to give it a chance. I'm curious to see how it goes. I hope it goes well. I really, really hope it goes well. I hope that we get something new and exciting. I am really excited to see the world. And yeah, this has just been a kind of a little ramble of everything, because I can't just sit here and not talk about it. But yeah, if you guys have been into Critical Role, let me know what your thoughts are on this. If you are excited, if you're nervous, please keep spoilers out of the comment section, because I don't want to spoil people who are watching Critical Role for the first time and don't know what's going on. But yeah, I'm hesitantly optimistic. I'm very curious to see where it goes. But I'm gonna be hesitant for a while, I think. Just because it's change, and Critical Role has always been Exandria to me. And yes, they've branched out to Midst and to Candela Obscura and to the Age of Umbra, and that's been lovely to see. But I don't know, the main campaigns have always been Exandria, and it's going to be really, really interesting to see it not be Exandria. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, thank you for listening. If you have stayed this long, I have just rambled for a long time. Okay, so that was my original thoughts when we got the announcement of campaign 4 and the idea of Brennan taking over, and my thoughts on the issue of Critical Role not being diverse enough. Now, I'm saying this, I'm a white woman, like, there are a lot more important, and if you want to go and see who's talking about this, go and have a look, because I have seen a few people of colour talking about this online, and I didn't know how to feel about it, because I was like, oh, at least they have some diversity, because we have a cast now. It is the entirety of the original founders, who are all white presenting, even if they're not all white, because Laura Bailey is half Filipino. And then we got Luis Carrazzo, we got Robbie Damon, we got Abria Iyengar, and then we've got Alexander Ward and Whitney Moore. Now, 3 of those are definitely people of colour. I don't know about Alex. I tried to Google things to find out ethnicity. Couldn't find anything, so I'm not going to speak on Alexander, because that's not fair. That's not fair. I don't know, so I'm not going to say anything about that. And Whitney is white presenting. So it's good that they have at least a few people of colour in it, but that's still a very, very low percentage compared to the rest of the table, especially when we're looking at things like Desi Quest, which is entirety people of South Asian heritage, I believe. And I can't speak on this, because I'm not a person of colour, so I wasn't sure how I felt about this. And then I saw other people. I still was like, I don't know if it's enough. It's a good start, but I don't know if it's enough. And then I was watching TikToks, and there was a few people who turned around and said, we don't think it's enough. So I was like, okay, I still think they could have done a lot more. I think the outcry has been there for a long, long time, and I think they should have listened, personally. However, we don't know what's happening on the outside. I said this earlier. I've tried to film this a couple of times, but I keep on struggling to find the words. We don't know if Critical Role have gone and had a look and tried to get people, and we don't know if it was a scheduling issue or anything like that. It doesn't excuse it, but we just don't know what's going on. I think it's going to be really, really interesting to see. I'm very, very excited to watch this campaign, and I'm not going to say anything in the sense of anything about diversity, because people are still frustrated with the diversity ideas. I think it's going to be really, really interesting. Obviously we have D&D 2024 rules, so that's going to be interesting to see the differences. We have character art. That's going to be really, really interesting. And I think the new world is potentially going to be something that's a breath of fresh air, because I feel as if campaign 1 is really, really good to watch, because it's my favourite. However, we know that it's really difficult to get into, because it starts mid-campaign, and they don't really set it up very well to be like, hey, this is what you have seen. They just kind of go, right, let's get into it. This is where you are. And it was a stumble on their part. They were just trying to figure it out, but still, it was a stumble. Campaign 2 is most people's favourites, because it's really well set up. It's really well done. It's very much, there's a few nods to campaign 1, but in a very, very silly way, whereas most of it just stands on its own. And then campaign 3 is very, very difficult, because it's such a mix of campaign 1. They were doing a lot of information from The Legend of Vox Machina, because they were having that, they were sorting that and creating that. So it's very heavily embedded into that story. I'm excited to see something new. I thoroughly enjoy Brennan's entire backlog of stuff he's done on Critical Role. I haven't watched a lot of Dimension 20. I want to. I've got a Dropout subscription, so I'm going to be watching more of it at some point. I just need to kind of figure out the time, because at the moment I've got no time to do anything. But I think it's going to be really interesting to see. I think it's also interesting because a lot of people have turned around and said that the founders are now not interested in D&D, and because they've it's their jobs, they don't like it. And I think this would have been a perfect time for them to step back and step down and not play D&D anymore. So I think it's interesting because it's very obvious that they don't hate D&D. So that's my personal take. But yeah, I still think it stands that they could have done more on the diversity side. I'm very interested in the West Marches style game. If you don't know what that is, essentially they're going to have like 3 different tables, and they're going to all be in the same world but doing different things that all link to a story, kind of like any form of like big fantasy style thing that you deal with, like Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, things like that. Like you've got like different people doing different things, and it all kind of guides to a wider story. So yeah, I'm interested to see how that goes. I think it'll be really, really good to see. I love the character art. I think the character art looks really, really good. And I think that the way they've done the announcements and the drops and stuff like that, I think it's a really, really good way of pushing pushing this world and getting us hyped in the right way. So yeah, I think there's a little bit of trepidation that I think's always going to be there when something's new. I think the way they handled the announcement of Brennan, I disagree with, in the sense of they did it at a live show. It's not great. But everything that they've done since then, I think, is really, really interesting. I'm glad that they're giving some diversity. Is it enough? That's not mine to say. But we'll see, is what I'm going to say. Either way, I'm excited to see what happens. I am going to be listening to more people's voices because I think there's more. It's better to listen to other people's voices than me just go, hey, I don't think this is right. I'm going to listen out to people of colour to see what they think and what their thoughts on the new cast are and what their thoughts are on the diversity. I still will be watching because I do love Critical Role, and it's something that's a huge safety net for me. It's something that I have been watching for almost 10 years myself. I came in on the Thordak, just like in the middle of the Chroma Conclave arc, which was like late 2017, I think, something like that. But I have been watching them for a very, very long time, and I will continue to do so. Yeah, I think that's all I'm going to say, because I think I'm trying to perfect the way that I say things, and if I want to do that, I should script it, and I don't like doing that because I get distracted and I get robotic, and I don't think that that comes off as real. And I think I keep on saying things as like trying to summarize things or trying to make excuses for things, and that's not what I'm trying to do. So we will have to see what goes on here. We will have to figure it out. Either way, I think it's going to be an interesting campaign. I will be tuning in on it'll technically be the 3rd of October because it'll be after midnight, and I will not be watching it after midnight. I will be watching it when I'm finished work. But I will be watching to see what this takes place in. I will be excited to see how it goes, and from there we will find out what this is like. I'm very excited to see the new players. I've seen all of them play apart from Whitney. However, I've watched Whitney on other things, and I really like Whitney's style and Whitney's like energy. So I'm really excited to see what they do. Alexander in Divergence, his performance was so incredible. It was so good. Reese in was just absolutely unreal. Absolutely unreal. Brie is always incredible. We've seen her on multiple things and she's just such a delight. I can't say anything else other than that. Apart from anyone who has an issue with Bria, fuck you. Like legitimately, fuck you. I love Abria so much, and I just think she's got such an energy, and she's gorgeous, and she's just, she seems like a beautiful soul. And I know people don't like her, and I just don't understand it. And I'm not going any further than that because I will just rant and ramble about Abria for ages. And I, like, yeah, because she's just, she seems like the most beautiful soul ever. And I just love her. And again, Whitney, I saw her when she was on SourceFed, and I really liked her energy there. I haven't seen what she's been up to lately, but I'm very excited to see what she does. And apart from that, yeah, I think the only way we're going to find out what this is like is to watch it and see where they go from here. But yeah, that is all I'm going to say. I'm going to stop because I keep on rambling. I keep on going on about things and I don't think that's fair. In summary, I still think we need to watch this space. I still think they could have done better in terms of diversity. I still think there's a lot of big and things to do and say. Excuse me. If you want to go and listen to people of colour about what they think about this, please go and do that. I'm a white person. This is not my like, it doesn't affect me. I just think that it should be called out. So go and have a look. I know that is it the Smoking Glue Gun, I think? They did a big thing on it. And they said about it, and I think there was another creator on TikTok that I don't remember who it was, because I was just scrolling, but they called it out as well. And I just think, you know, the conversation's out there, and it was the first thing that I thought as a white person. So, you know, I'm doing the thing where I'm rambling again. I'm gonna shut up now. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to my rambles. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on the new campaign. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you're concerned. Everything here, there, and everywhere. And I'm going to go, and I will talk to you guys in the next video.